Welcome back to the College Cinephile. I'm Cindy Hatfield, and with me is Isaiah Valverde, aka Dr. Destiny, here with me to talk about Justice League, which we saw last night, and it was directed by Zack Snyder. So, Dr. Destiny, tell me about Justice League.
All right, well, first off, Justice League stars Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, Ezra Miller, Ray Fisher, Jason Momoa, and a whole other slew of characters. Like, I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm a huge comic book fan, and more specifically DC Comics. Like, the Cartoon Network animated show was my stuff, man. Like, like where I'm from, it came on like at 9:30 to 10 in the morning on Saturday mornings. So I remember like growing up, like getting my bowl of cereal and watching that stuff. That was amazing. My childhood. So, like, even though the DCEU has had its stumbles across the way, like, I was super pumped for this movie because it's Justice League, you know, it's something I've been wanting to see, like, ever since the Avengers was a possibility. Yeah,
so do you think that this movie lived up to your expectations?
In a way, yes, because just like the rest of the DCU movies, it's not a perfect film. It's pretty flawed. But what this film does, I think, better than most of the DCEU movies is that it gives a lot of fan service to major comic book fans.
Right.
Like, there's so many stuff that they really get right. Also, they get stuff wrong too, but, you know.
Yeah. So let's talk about plot. Can you tell me a little bit without, you know, spoiling it? Can you tell me, like, what the plot is about?
Yeah, so, like, if you've watched the trailers, you know, there's this big CGI gray baddie who has very poor language, by the way. Yeah, he talks like...
yeah, his voice was very booming and it was kind of jarring.
But anyway, yeah, it's this big guy, and basically he's coming to Earth to collect these 3 artifacts, and these 3 artifacts are going to, like, terraform the Earth, kind of like similar to Man of Steel, in which General Zod terraformed the Earth. So that's his whole spiel, and the Justice League needs to team up together to stop that, because with the death of Superman, now they don't really have someone powerful enough to take on this guy. So they need to form a team, and that's where we get Justice League.
I'd say, like, I had fun with this movie. I didn't have as much fun as I was hoping to have, but I still had fun. I wouldn't say it's bad. I also wouldn't say it's great. I'd say it's pretty okay, like on the more positive end of okay.
I totally agree with that. It's just, I'll just jump into like a negative here. One of my issues that I kind of had with the film is that, like, okay, regardless, like, you know, this is going to happen. We're going to compare it to Avengers. It's an inevitability at this point. And so one of the things that it tries to do that Avengers, like, already had set in stone was establish the characters. We had movies leading up into Avengers to establish all the Avengers. Justice League, there's 3 new guys on the block, and we, like, hardly know anything about them.
Right.
So this whole first act, they're trying to set up everybody, like, set up, and it's just...
and, like, the problem with that is, like, love them or hate them, these solo movies that, you know, that are going on in Marvel, like, they set up the characters, and so when we get to Avengers, we know who they are. In Justice League, like, they're introducing the Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg. And they're all characters that everyone loves, and I don't feel like they got to really flesh out their characters that much.
Because they're trying to set up these brand new characters, they, in my opinion, they rush through the first act. Especially like in the editing. It's like, it almost feels like every scene they're trying to get through it. Like, there's this one scene, I don't know if you would consider it spoiler, it has to do with a janitor, so spoiler warning if you don't want to know about janitors. But there's this scene with a janitor in a laboratory, and he hears something in the other room, and he goes in, and he discovers a certain something, and, like, it's like building up to it, immediately cuts away, and it's just like, okay, I guess that's over. And, you know, it's just scenes like that because they want to get to the characters, set them up, and then we could throw them into the big battle later on.
So one of the things that we both talked about is CGI. The CGI in this movie is not great. And the reason why I think that is, it's a personal theory, and it might be true. I don't know. But so during reshoots, Henry Cavill, he had a mustache for Mission Impossible, and they wouldn't let him shave it. So they had to CGI the mustache out. And that CGI is great. I could never tell that there was, like, something covering up his face. Like, I completely forgot he even, like, had a mustache during reshoots. I think that's where all the CGI budget went.
Like, it's very inconsistent. Like, in the very beginning of the movie, we get like a really cool sequence with Batman in Gotham. And in my opinion, Gotham City looked really good. It was very vibrant, a lot of colors and stuff.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Yeah, and so like, oh, I'm like, okay. But then like throughout the movie, like one of the biggest characters, Cyborg, there's some scenes where he looks really good.
Yeah,
and then there's some where he
looks
just
really
off.
weird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's off, like very glowy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then of course the big bad, Steppenwolf, he just looks flat out like a cartoon character. Like he doesn't belong. It just looks very odd.
I think we've said about all we can say.
Yeah.
But so my final point is, it's an okay movie. It's not great. It's not bad. It's okay. I think there's fun to be had in it. But don't expect anything like top tier, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's a step in the right direction.
Oh, heck yeah, most definitely. I think that general audiences, like what we said about the whole character setting up, are going to kind of be confused. But like if you're like a major comic book fan, you're going to have some fun. It's not perfect, but there's a lot of like DC Comics references. There's a really awesome end credit scene at the end.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's 2 end credit scenes, by the way. Stay for both of them if you're into that.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, like the last one is like, whoa, they're going to set up that. You know, like I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's all we have for today. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe down below, and we'll see you next time on the College Cinephile. Are you getting my glasses? Thank you.
Whoa.